All right, welcome back to the Let's Create series. This is Patrick, and we're going to continue where we left off last time. So I reviewed the videos of what we've done last time, and from what I can see, we left off with on Android, we were getting this exception here. And I think it's because this document.data is basically a dictionary of keys are type string, a C# string, but the values are Java lang objects, and we need to convert those to C# objects. So that's what we're going to do today. So let's jump in. So we need a convert method or some kind of like toDictionary method on this iDictionary of string Java lang object. So let's go ahead and make that. So we'll call this one on the doc.data. We'll say dot toDictionary. And this will have an error because we don't have that defined yet. So let's head over to the extensions folder, which we're already in, and let's make another extension, and we'll call this one. So we'll add a new class in the extensions folder, and we'll call this one Java lang extensions. So Java lang extensions. And this one's basically going to take that iDictionary of the Java type, and it's going to convert it to a C#. So as always, our extension needs to be a static class. And then in here we can say public static method, and this is going to return an iDictionary, and we can use a quick fix. So I'm using Alt Enter. And this is going to use the system.collections.generic. And this will take in a string as the key and a C# object as the value. And then we'll just say toDictionary. And this needs to take in this iDictionary. And this one's going to be a string, but instead of a C# dictionary, it's going to take in a Java dictionary. So Java.lang, and I misspoke. I don't mean a Java dictionary, I mean a Java object. And we can call this one map is fine. So let me extend this for now, since we're not running this, and just so you can see all the code. And so this is this iDictionary string and Java lang object map. And now this needs to return an iDictionary with a C# string and a C# object. And so what we can do here is say var dict, like we did in the iOS project, and this will be var dict equals new. This can be a regular dictionary, and this will be a string and object. And then we'll drop a couple lines and we'll return dict. So that'll get rid of our error, and this basically assumes we converted. And now from here, we need to go through each of the values just like we did on iOS, and we need to convert them from the Java lang object to a C# object. And just so you know, a couple things real quick. So we have a little darker lighting, so I'm not in my normal office. I'm in another room. So it's darker, and I didn't really know how to fix that. But the other thing is I'm still monitoring the chat. I have this weird setup, so the monitor is way over there, so you'll see me looking way to the side to make sure I'm monitoring chat. But anyway, other than that, we can get back to it. So the first thing we want to do is grab that value from this this map object that we are passing in, or actually extending from. And so we can say var value equals map, and we'll just use the key. And so this will be before we do that, we need to get the key. So we should run through that map and get all of its keys. So we can say for each, and we'll say var key is fine, in map.keys. And that gives us, if we hover over that, we'll see, it gives us a collection of strings. And so that's perfect. That's basically all we're looking for. So the first thing we want to do is grab the value. So var value will equal map, and we'll use square brackets, and we'll use key. And so that'll give us the value of this key on the iteration. And then we want to check the type, just like we did on iOS. So we'll say if value is, and these are all going to be kind of Java lang objects. So this will be, the first one we can do is java.lang.boolean. So if it is a java.lang.boolean, and we can just say BLN is fine, it doesn't matter. So if it is a Boolean, then let's go ahead and add it to the dictionary. So we'll add, and this will be the key, and then we need to convert this Boolean to a C# Boolean. So we say BLN dot Boolean value. And so as we can see, the Java lang Boolean dot Boolean value method returns a C# Boolean, so that's exactly what we want. So that one works fine. We need to add an else if, and this is going to see if value is maybe a long, right? So is java.lang.long, and we'll just say lng is fine, doesn't matter. And if it is a long, we're just going to condense it down to an integer. So we will add that to the dictionary. So dict.add, and it'll be key as well, same thing, but we'll say lng.intValue. And we can see that int value returns that int, so that's good. So that takes care of Boolean and int. Not as clean as iOS, but there's your platform difference. And so from here we can say else if. And now we can check for an actual Java lang integer. So we'll say if value is java.lang.integer, and we can call this one integer is fine. We can't use int because that's a C# keyword. So if it is a Java lang integer, then we'll say dict.add, and this will be key integer.intValue again. So that takes care of our Booleans, our long, our integer. Next thing we want to check for is a double, and so we can say else if value is java.lang.double, and we'll just say dbl or something is fine. And if it is a double, then we'll add it to the dictionary, and this can be dbl.double value. And if we hover over that, we'll see that that adds a C# double, so that's perfect. The next thing we'll check for is a Java string. So else if value is java.lang.string, and we can just say str, it's fine. Then we'll say dict.add, and this will be key, and str.string, or toString, I guess is fine. Next thing we need to check for is that timestamp. And so we can say else if, we can say if value is, and we'll check for a java.util.date. And so if value is java.util.date, we can call it anything we want. We can just say DT. So if it is that, then we need to make a date format. So we can say var DT format equals, and then we can say new simple date format, and then we'll need a quick fix for that java.text, I think. And if we look at the IntelliSense, we'll see that it'll take a string pattern, and so this will be that 4-digit year, very similar to the iOS 4-digit year. We'll use a dash, and well, we'll use a slash. we'll do, okay, maybe we'll back up on that 4-digit year and we'll do month, day, year. So we'll do 2 capital M's for month, a slash, 2 lowercase d's for day, and then 4 digits for year, so lowercase y. We'll use a space and we'll use capital H, 2 of them, a colon, and then we'll use 2 lowercase m's and 2 lowercase s's, and that'll give us our hours, minutes, seconds. And then we can go ahead and add this to our dictionary. So we'll say dict.add, it'll be key, and then it'll be dtformat.format, and this wants a Java Lang object, and we can just add dt to that. And so that'll format that Java util date to a string. So that works for that. And then the last thing is like an array list. And an array list in Java is pretty similar to a list in C#. So let's go ahead and check if we have an array list. So we can say else if, we'll say if value is, let's do if value.class.isInstance, and this will tell us if whatever we pass in here, if the values class, is an instance of whatever we pass in here. So we'll just say new array list, and we'll need a quick fix here. I think this will be a java.util. So if this is a new, an instance of array list, then we can do some converting here as well. So this one's tricky. I had to do this kind of on my own to make this work. So I'll walk through it. I'll try to explain it the best I can. Let me make sure I can see the comments in case anybody's commenting. Nope, not yet. Okay. So basically, what we're doing is we're making a C# list. So let's do this. We're going to say var list equals, and we're going to say a new array list. And then in here, we can pass in a capacity or a system.collections.iCollection. And so that's what we'll pass in. So let's go ahead and cast. So we'll add more parentheses. And we'll say system.collections.generic. Nope, we don't need generic because it wants a system.collections.iCollection. So not generic, we'll say .iCollection. And that'll be the cast that we do on value. And then we'll make sure it worked. So there's the two ways. There's this one that says var list equals. And then we could say if list does not equal null, right? So that's one way. The other way to do it, which is a one-liner, which is the way we should do it, is if value is system.collection.iCollection, and then we can call this list, for example. And then that does it, this line, this couple lines does the conversion and the check. So let's get rid of those last couple lines, and we'll just use if value is this. And then if it's not null and it can be parsed to this or converted to this, then it'll be put in list. And that's basically what this does. So we're going to delete that, the first little try there. And then inside this if statement, we're going to operate on it. So we'll say var lst, which just because list is being used. And we'll say equals new list, which is a C# list. And this will be just of type string, right? So a list of strings. And then from there, we will just say for. And then we can just say int or var. We should use var. I equals 0. I is less than list.size. it doesn't like that. Why doesn't it like that? I think we have count. List.count? Yep, we sure do. So var I equals 0, I is less than list.count, and then we'll just say I++. And this will get us through, we'll iterate through the list, and we can just say var item equals list at I, maybe list.get. Oh, I see. We still need to convert value to that array list, I think is the difference. So let's delete everything inside. And let's change this cast name to collection. And then we'll say var list equals new array list. And this will take in collection. So from here, now we can use an enumerator and things, right? So we could say for var I equals 0, I is less than list.size. There we go. Now we have size. And then I++. And so now in here, we can get the item. So var item equals list and dot get. And we can use I. So this will get the item at the index I. So it's 0 all the way through the size. Well, 1 less than the size. And then we can convert it to a string. So item str, for example. So var item str equals item.toString. And so this will convert like an integer or a double or a Boolean to a string. And then we'll add it to our, what are we adding it to? We're adding it to the C# string, which we deleted, but we need to add it back. So above all of this, we're going to say var lst equals new list string, which we had and we deleted. And now we need to add it inside of this for loop. So we can say lst.add, and this will be item string or item str. Once it goes through all of the list items, at the end of the for loop, so outside of it, we can say dict.add, and this needs a key and a value, so it can be the same thing, key, but the other one will be LST. All right, we'll drop down 2 of those curly braces, and outside of this else if, we just need an else. And all that else is going to do is add to the dictionary, type, the key will be key, and value is just going to be value.toString. This could propose problems in case it needed to cast but couldn't or didn't, or we didn't write the condition. It's just it'll say, the string value will be java.lang.object. So that'll be a problem. But I'm pretty sure we handle everything we need to in here. So we'll see how it goes. If it comes out that some of our values are java.lang.object, because we're not catching it inside here, then we'll address it as it comes. But for now, I'm pretty sure this works. And so we should be able to head back over to our document reference extensions, which we said we would change to document snapshot extensions. But we should be able to head over here And now our toDictionary is no longer throwing an exception. So we can actually test this now. Last time we tested it, we got a JSON error. The parse didn't work. And so I'm going to put that breakpoint back. You might still have it there. And then I'm going to check, no, not account service. It's our page model, right? Yeah, and so items shouldn't be null anymore. So let's see if that's true. So I'm going to run the app, and this might take a minute. So I'm going to minimize this a little bit so we have room to see. So we have room to see our emulator, and we'll let this run. We'll give it its time it needs. I am keeping an eye on the chat if you guys want to ask questions. Doing my best to keep an eye on chat. So if you post your questions, I'll answer them the best I can. Okay, looks like it's launching finally. Sorry for the delay there. I'm sure that was incredibly boring. While it was loading, I was checking through just to make sure I was caught up on what we're doing. I don't know if I remember this. I think I do. My test user. I don't know. Let's see. Try to log in. If we get an error, it didn't work. Oh, it worked. Okay. So items shouldn't be null. Let's see. It's not. Okay, that's good news. And let's see if everything mapped properly. So we have age is 12. That's good. Amount 1.54. Flag is true. And I would assume if it didn't map properly, it would be false, right? ID did map. It matches the ID we used. Name, Boeing. Some date 10/30. So we could check that, but I'm pretty sure that's correct too. So it looks like everything is mapping properly. So that's good. I would have to check, but I'm pretty sure this is where the iOS got to. Let's check. So iOS has that test data repository, and it goes, just provides the document path, just like Android. And so we have get, which does what we did here. It also has get all. And so that is something that I don't think Android has. So we need to get all working. So back to the Android base repository, we have get, and we have get all, which is not implemented yet. So we need to implement. Get all. So we can delete this throw new not implemented exception. I'm going to go ahead and stop the app. And I'm going to take a look at the base repository for iOS. And we can basically copy most of this. So I'm going to expand this out again since we have some time until we get back to the emulator. And so get all needs to, on Android, also needs to have this task completion source. It needs a C# list of type T so that it can return it. It needs to do some Firestore things, which we will do, and then it will return task, the task completion source.task. So let's do that. So in base repository, we'll make our task completion source. So var tcs equals new task completion source. And this will be a list of T. And then we'll just return that tcs.task. And that'll get rid of the error. I guess we could make this iList. I'm pretty sure list is an iList, so that's weird. Let's see. I guess you are doing iList here. Fine. Very well. Anyway, so we still need that C# list, right? So over in the Android project, we can... Oh, I see a nice emoji in the chat. Can't read the name though, so hello there. All right, so we need that C# list. So we'll say var list equals new list, and this will just be of type T. And so this is what we'll populate, and then we'll do that set result thing, right? So in the base repository for iOS, we can see that we went to Cloud Firestore, and then we got collection, and then we got all the documents in that collection. So in the Android side, we can do pretty much the same. We can say Firebase Firestore dot get instance. We can just use instance actually, and then we could say dot collection, and this will be document path again. Then we can use .document, and this will be, let's look at iOS. What did we use there? So this was just get all documents, right? So, Android, I think it's a .get. Let's see. .get, and that returns a task. So we'll say .get. And then we need to add a onComplete listener. And so this will need a new onComplete listener, and this one will be not a normal onComplete, but like an onList complete, right? Like an onCollection complete. So we'll say onCollection complete listener. And then we'll want to pass in that TCS again, just kind of like normal. And we want to pass in probably that type. So in the angle brackets, we can add a T. And then from there, we can just return the task. So that's probably good. So now we need to create this class. So I'm going to copy its name. And then over here in the service listeners, I'll add a new class. And I'll name that class. I'll just paste it in. And then that class needs to, let's see, where is the other onComplete? It needs to basically be the same thing here. So we can just copy it from our other onComplete. It needs to be a Java Lang object as well as an onComplete listener. So let's go ahead and paste that in here. So I'll use a colon and then I'll paste. And then we can use a quick fix to import or they using for Android GMS tasks. And then we also need the quick fix to implement the interface. And so we have an onComplete. So that's good. We can get rid of we don't want to get rid of the constructor. We want that task completion source. So this onCollection complete listener needs to have a typed parameter as well. And then we also need to provide a where, right? A restriction. So where T implements the identifiable interface. And so we can use a quick fix to bring in services from the shared project, and that'll take care of that. So now this onCollection complete listener constructor needs to bring in a task completion source. And that needs to be of type T, and we'll just call it TCS is fine. We can use a quick fix, and instead of saying using tasks, that's going to kind of create a problem, we can just fully qualify it with system.threading.tasks.task completion source. I think it's going to import that using. Once we do this, we're going to say TCS equals TCS, and I use an underscore just like always. And then a quick fix is going to generate that field. Oh, good. So I was afraid it would import this and then cause errors, but in case yours did, go ahead and delete the using up top and just change it out with the fully qualified class name up here. So now we have the TCS, and now with the onComplete, we're going to kind of convert each object just like we always do, but we're going to convert the whole list. So we need another extension. But the first thing we can do is, just like the last time, we can check to see if task is successful. So we can say if task.is successful. And if it is, we can continue to operate on it. So we can say var docs object or obj, and that can equal task.result. And that's kind of just this regular Java Lang object. And then we can check to see if docs object is, and we want to make sure it is one of those query snapshots. So if docs object is query snapshot, and then we're going to want to use a quick fix for that using firebase.firestore. And then we can call this whatever we want. We can say docs or snapshot or whatever. And then in here, we can try to set the result. So tcs.trySetResult. And this will be docs.convert, which we haven't created yet. But we can pass in the typed parameter as well. And now we need another extension method because we have the one. It is Java, no, it's, what is it? Yeah, document reference extensions. And that just converts it to a regular T. we also need to create a convert method to convert to a list. So we can say public static. This will be a list. So a quick fix for the system.collections.generic. And this will be a list of T. And we can say convert. And this will just take in a T parameter as well. This will be this. And now instead of document snapshot, it's going to be the same thing we were using here, which is a query snapshot. So let's head back to our extensions, and we're going to say query snapshot. And then we can just call this docs or whatever is fine. And then we need to qualify or restrict that T-typed parameter, and it also needs to extend from identifiable. And so now we have another convert method that converts a query snapshot to a list of these items. Well, the good news is we go through each of these document snapshots and we can already convert each one to an item. So we can use that method here. So what we're going to do is say var list equals new list of type T, which is going to be our return. So we can drop a couple lines and we can say return list. So that'll get rid of our error, but this is going to be an empty list right now. So what we should do instead is say for each, we can say var doc in docs.documents. And so for each of these documents, if we hover over that, we should see that this is an iList of document snapshot, which is what our other convert method uses. That's actually really perfect. So what we can do there is just say list.add. We can say doc.convert, and we can convert it to a T, right? And so that's going to use this method here. So that's perfect. We already wrote the method. It's already working. We confirmed it. And so all this is kind of some syntactic sugar that's going to change a list, query snapshot into a list of these items. And it's just going to use the method that we already created. So that's actually excellent. So if we head over to our onCollection complete listener, all we need to do from here is bring in that extensions namespace. And then we have an issue here. Let's see, what is our issue? Cannot convert from list T to T. Yeah, that's true. So this shouldn't be a task completion source of just T. It should be a task completion source of list T, right? Because that's basically what we're doing. This is a collection. So let's go ahead and do that. And then this needs to be changed as well, just to make sure the types are the same. And now that takes care of that, so we can save all. And then let's head back to the where are we using it? Test data repository? Nope. Our base repository. And our TCS, the problem here is that our onCollection complete listener is taking just a type T. We can probably leave that and just head over here. So you're taking in a type T. Do we make you iList? I think we do, right? I think we make you an iList. iList of type T. Hold on. Don't go too far here. I'm just trying to make sure everything's working. Yeah, that did do it. So back in onCollection complete listener, let's change list to iList because we can still kind of add to the iList. It just doesn't like that we're declaring an iList top level and then down into the children or the dependencies we're declaring a hard non-abstract list, right? Well, I guess it would be called a concrete class. Anyway, so that takes care of that. That passes in that task completion source. It lets us, go through the query snapshot and convert everything into the collection into a list of our C# objects. And so I think all we have to do now is make sure we can get all. We want to make sure we can get the whole collection. So we do that in time clock page model. And it looks like we even did some saving last time, which I don't remember. So we might not do saving this time. But what we will do is get all, right? So get all isn't going to take, let's see, let's go to the Firebase Firestore. Let me load it up, and then I'll bring it over. All right, so we're in here. We'll go to Firestore. So what we're already doing, we're going through users. We're getting the user. I think we're going through the collection. I got to see. What are we doing here? Oh, right. Yep. So we're getting into test. The document. So instead of getting the actual document itself, what we want to do is get this whole collection. And so if we go back to that test data repository, we'll see that it's already declaring the collection path by itself. So I think we could just use get all. I'm going to try it. So we'll go to the time clock page model. This already resolves the iRepository, so that's good. And so instead of .get, I'm going to drop this to its own line and comment it out. And I'm going to say .get all. I also want item to be items because it just kind of makes more sense. And I'm going to put a breakpoint on items. And now we should see 2 once we run it. So I'm going to press run. It's probably going to take another eternity. And so I apologize there. Now's a good time to check out chat. Chat hasn't changed, so that's okay. We'll let this build. I'm going to kind of shrink my window here a little bit so we can see the Android emulator. And we'll wait. I don't want to jinx anything, but I mean, if this works, I'll have to review, but I think we're pretty much caught up. I didn't expect it to run so smoothly, to be honest. So we'll check. If this does work out, that's probably where we'll call it. So if you're able to test and you have your breakpoint on items and you see that it's not null, if you get there and it's working, that's where we're going to end. If it's not working, we're gonna try to debug it, and if it's too crazy, I'll debug it on my own time so that I'm not wasting your time. But yeah, I just really wanted to get Android up to speed, and it's been, I think, about 3 weeks since my last upload, so I wanted to get another one out there. I can't believe Android takes this long. That's crazy. All right, here it goes. Hopefully. It stinks because, imagine waiting that long and then something goes wrong, right, on your breakpoint. So you got to, make some change and then wait another eternity for it to start working. It's such a nightmare. All right, test 1, 2, 3. And then we'll log in with our test user. And we should hit our breakpoint here once we get to the home page or the landing page. All right, we hit our breakpoint. And now we want items to not be null. And we want items to have 2 objects, right? Come on. All right, we might have to go to watch. All right, looks like we have to go to watch. That's fine. So we'll add item, and we'll watch items. And it has 2. That's good. All right, so let's make sure they're still populating properly. So we have 2 test data items. That's good. And we see that, yeah, everything's populating properly. So we have some date 11/5. And then if we check the other one, we have that 10:30, I hope. Let's see. So some date 10:30. There we go. So we have both of our objects. So we're getting the whole collection. So yeah, that's where we are. I mean, looks like Android is caught up to iOS. Minus possibly the save. Let's take a look. So base repository on iOS. If we go to save, I can't remember if it was working or not. I think it was, but we're probably going to save that till next time. So that'll probably conclude today's stream. That gives us everything we need for episode 21, and we can probably do 22. So I'll get those videos edited and uploaded, and then I'm pretty sure that'll get us 22. And then our next live stream will be 23 plus, and that is where we'll get Android to do the save. And then we also need delete, I'm pretty sure. Yep. So there's no delete here, and if we go to iOS, I'm pretty sure we still have no delete there as well. Yeah, so we have to do delete as well on iOS and Android. And we need to check to make sure iOS save is working properly. And then we need Android to save. And that'll complete the repository, which is basically your kind of access layer over the services that will take, the repositories use the services. They're consumers of the services. Should take care of all that. So next time we'll get to, I guess that would be episode 23 plus, and I'm not going to commit to when I can do that because the holiday season's kind of busy, but I'll do it as soon as I can. Otherwise, thank you so much for tuning in. Hope to catch you next time. Hope you had fun. Post your comments. Love to answer them. Love to see the engagement. So yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks so much.